10 new laws just changed everything. Across the United States, a recent November court decision has rewritten core parts of modern gun law. 10 major legal shifts now influence how you carry, store, transport, and defend your firearms, and each one reaches deeper than anything we have seen in years. Some of these changes expand your freedom more than any ruling in a decade, while others create silent legal dangers that could put you at risk if you are not paying close attention. Every gun owner in America, regardless of state or experience, is now operating under a new legal map. If your rights matter to you, subscribe to Survival Lawline and stay with me until the end. These 10 changes will shape how protected you are the next time a split-second decision becomes life-changing. Chapter 1. Courts must now use the toughest standard. For decades, courts allowed gun restrictions to survive without proving they were necessary. But this November ruling forces every gun law to meet strict scrutiny. This is the highest legal threshold in American constitutional law, and it shifts the burden completely onto the government instead of the citizen. Every future restriction must now clear a standard that has historically struck down most limitations on fundamental rights. The government must prove a compelling reason for any firearm restriction. They must also show the law is narrowly tailored with no broader impact than needed. Judges can no longer rely on public interest arguments or assumptions. Thousands of state and federal gun laws now face serious constitutional risk. This ruling changes the battlefield. Instead of you defending your rights, the government must defend its restrictions. That alone may eliminate regulations that would have survived just 1 year ago. Chapter 2. Self-defense lawsuits just got rewritten. Even when legally justified, many gun owners were financially destroyed in civil court for defending themselves. This decision changes that forever. If you use lawful self-defense, criminals and their families can no longer sue you for injuries received during their attack. Instead of being dragged into bankruptcy by a civil claim, your actions now receive full legal protection. Civil immunity applies when self-defense is lawful under state or federal law. Plaintiffs must now prove criminal wrongdoing before a civil case can begin. Innocent defenders cannot be targeted by opportunistic lawsuits. This prevents criminals from weaponizing civil court against gun owners. This new protection shields ordinary people from financial ruin. Your lawful defense of life no longer opens the door to years of litigation designed to punish you for surviving. Chapter 3. Officers are finally accountable for violating gun rights. For years, qualified immunity protected officers who illegally confiscated firearms or violated Second Amendment rights. This ruling removes that shield when violations are obvious and clearly established. Officers who overstep now face personal financial liability rather than hiding behind institutional protection. Qualified immunity no longer applies in clear gun rights violations. Officers can be held personally responsible for wrongful confiscation. Traffic stops and home encounters must follow strict legal standards. Courts are already awarding financial judgments against officers. This change restores balance between authority and accountability. If an officer takes your firearm without lawful cause, you now have a direct path to justice. Chapter 4. States cannot invent endless sensitive places. Some states tried to ban carry almost everywhere by labeling common areas as sensitive locations. Parks, public sidewalks, libraries, buses, parking lots, and grocery stores were all placed on growing lists. The November ruling shuts this strategy down and replaces it with a precise two-part test that dramatically narrows what the government can restrict. Sensitive places must have concrete security obligations and controlled access. Schools and courthouses may qualify, but general public spaces do not. States must eliminate broad location bans that lack historical grounding. Over 80% of sensitive place lists must be rewritten. This restores the original meaning of carry rights. A sign alone cannot criminalize responsible citizens, and states can no longer use sensitive place labels as a disguise for broad prohibition. Chapter 5. Permits can no longer be delayed. Many states delayed permit approvals for months or even years. Some allowed thousands of applications to sit untouched until applicants simply gave up. The November ruling ends this tactic permanently by imposing a strict countdown on every state agency. States must approve or deny applications within 60 days. If they fail to respond, the permit is automatically approved. Requests for extra documents must include clear legal reasons. Denials must be supported by detailed written explanations. This protects citizens from bureaucratic slow walking. Your rights are no longer trapped in processing limbo, and state agencies cannot delay until you quit. Chapter 6. Ammunition storage restrictions have been dismantled. several states attempted to neutralize firearms through extreme ammunition storage laws. These rules forced ammo and firearms to be stored separately, in locked rooms, or in different parts of a home. The ruling declares that any law preventing immediate access for defense violates the core purpose of the Second Amendment. Ammunition may be stored near or with your firearm. The government cannot force multi-step storage methods that delay access. Home defense must remain possible in real-time emergencies. Overreaching state and county storage mandates are now invalid. This recognizes a simple truth. A firearm that cannot be used quickly is not a functional tool of defense, and the law must reflect that reality. Chapter 7. Illegal firearm registries must be destroyed. Federal law has long prohibited national gun registries, yet several states quietly built databases linking specific owners to specific firearms. The ruling identifies these systems as unlawful and orders them dismantled within a strict timeline to protect privacy and constitutional rights. States like California and Hawaii must erase decades of firearm records. Any system that tracks individual owners violates federal law. States must notify affected gun owners after deletion. Non-compliance may trigger contempt charges and heavy fines. This restores privacy and prevents governments from building lists that could be misused in future restrictions. Ownership cannot be cataloged or tracked without violating federal standards. Chapter 8. ATF cannot weaponize paperwork against dealers. For years, the ATF used minor clerical errors to revoke federal firearms licenses. Dealers lost their livelihood over small mistakes like ink color, incorrect dates, or misordered forms. The ruling prohibits revocation unless an actual criminal violation occurs. Minor administrative errors cannot justify license removal. ATF must provide written warnings in time to correct mistakes. Revocations require evidence of intentional wrongdoing. Small gun shops now receive fair treatment under federal oversight. This protects the businesses that supply American gun owners. Paperwork cannot be used as a backdoor mechanism for wiping out dealers. Chapter 9. Concealed carry reciprocity just became nationwide. Gun owners often faced confusion when crossing state lines. A valid permit in one state became meaningless in another. This ruling establishes a national baseline that forces reciprocity across most of the country, removing the legal minefield that made travel risky. 42 states must now honor every other state's permits. Officers are being retrained to recognize out-of-state permits. States cannot add new requirements for visiting permit holders. Travel with a firearm is now simpler and safer than ever. This creates consistency. A lawful permit in your home state now carries weight across the country, giving responsible gun owners the clarity they have long needed. Chapter 10. Home defense rights receive maximum protection. When people defended their homes, prosecutors in certain jurisdictions often filed aggressive charges, even in obvious cases of self-defense. The ruling shifts responsibility to the state, forcing prosecutors to prove wrongdoing beyond a reasonable doubt before accusing a homeowner. Prosecution must prove that force was not justified. Homeowners receive legal protection when defending against intruders. Historical abuse of home defense cases is directly addressed. The standard now favors the defender instead of the intruder. This strengthens the core of the Castle Doctrine. You have the right to defend your home without fearing prosecution for surviving the encounter. Know the new laws before they know you. These 10 changes represent the most significant shift in firearm law in an entire generation. They strengthen your rights, restrict government overreach, and protect you from sudden legal traps that could destroy your life. Knowing these details can be the difference between carrying confidently and making a mistake you never recover from. Subscribe to Survival Lawline so you never miss the legal changes that affect your freedom. Share this video with every gun owner you know because these protections only work when people understand them. Your rights are strongest when you are informed, prepared, and ready to stand your ground.